Hi everyone, this is Kurt with Hypnodyne. This is a small tutorial on how to play your favorite MP3 file when you enter REM sleep for lucid dreaming, dream queuing purposes. There's actually a lot going on under the hood, but the system is set up in such a way that doing something like this becomes really easy. I've already got my HD server running, so I'm just going to start HDRecorder first of all. Connect. All right, now to play an MP3 file, I think at some point there's going to be something here in the menu. The only reason I haven't put it there is because actually playing sounds during REM sleep doesn't work. They're not incorporated into the dream at all. You have to do something more sophisticated. I think perhaps if you play them during micro arousals, you might get some incorporation. But as far as just playing back sounds during the dream phase, it's not something that generally is incorporated. But hey, if you want to try your luck, this is a small tutorial on how to do that and verify whether it's actually true that it doesn't work, or maybe you'll find out that it works for you. So let's just try it. This directory JS contains some JavaScript files. So it's a small primer about the JavaScript files. You can put as many JavaScript files in here as you want. The one that's called startup is going to be loaded automatically by the software. So if you want to test anything with the scripting language, you have two choices. Either you can edit this, and that's all you need to do, or you can copy it. I'm going to copy it and call it my script. And then you can edit my script. Possibly copying it with a different name is better if you're going to mess around. Anyway, when we open this, and I'm going to open it in a proper editor so you can see the syntax hopefully. So this in gray is all comments. This is all telling you what kinds of commands you can use. These are ZMax specific commands that you normally don't have with JavaScript in the browser. There are two that are going to be useful here for us. Play sound and set sound volume, and perhaps even stop sound, but for now let's say it's just play sound. You've got to go under new epoch received. This is called every 30 seconds. And currently all it does is create a small, like a pop-up, which we don't really need, so I'm going to remove that. It's just for testing purposes. I'll remove that and uncomment this. Now, importantly, here you have to put the full path to your MP3 file. So make sure it exists. I've got this on my PC. You might have it somewhere else. This is to be the full path. Another thing to notice is that there are two slashes, not one. Okay, so whenever you see a slash, you have to put two right here because it's a string. This 0, just leave it at 0. That says start from the beginning. That's actually the second at which it starts playing. And then the volume. It's 0 to 1. 0, you can't hear it. 1 is full volume. So for now we tested with 1 so you can actually hear it. And that's it. So this is going to play a sound whenever the REM flag is true. That is, every epoch that is recognized as REM, this is going to play the sound. So I push Control S here, depending on your editor, to save that. So now we've got the saved myscript.js. So the question is, how do you load it into HDRecorder? Don't start Lucid Dreaming yet. First, load the file. It's this button right here, which conveniently says load a script. So you click that, and then you choose my script, which we just did. And then you proceed exactly as normal. You set your parameters here and go. And you start the recording. You need to have both the Lucid Dreaming indicator and the recording started for the Lucid Dreaming related function to be called. So make sure these both are working. And then you switch on your device and then you go to sleep. That's all you need to do. In the morning, click here, stop recording. Okay. In this case, it didn't create quick phenotype files, no markers, because there was no REM sleep, okay? Just a few seconds, so we don't expect that. So switch it off again. This is your basic way of playing an MP3 file in response to REM sleep. Now you might say, but what if I want to test it? Because I don't know if I really want the volume to 1 or anything else. No problem. Take this. Sorry, I forgot I was using this editor. So take this and put it outside of the condition, okay? So this now is going to execute every epoch. That is, every 30 seconds is going to play the file. Now, clearly, I cannot teach you how to program in JavaScript here, and neither can I teach you if you email me. You have to, kind of find a programmer if you're doing something specific. But, I can just show you from the point of view of you already know JavaScript, but now you're learning to script with ZMax. So I move these commands outside of the condition is REM, so they're going to be played every single time. So I'm going to go back here. We have to reload that script. There's two ways. You can either do the same process, click and select the script, or if you're making frequent changes, you might find this convenient to just right-click on this, and it's going to reload the same exact file. So I can go back to the editor, make another change, save it, reload. Okay, that's how you do it. So now we test it, and I'll just leave with the default parameters. And now we wait 30 seconds, but I have to have the device switched on, so I'm going to switch it on. And you will see that if you wait 30 seconds, that's going to feed an epoch through that JavaScript function, which is going to then signal that the software needs to load that MP3 and start playing it. So we now have to wait 30 seconds. Okay, so that just played the MP3 file. And if you think, well, that's a little bit loud, well, you can either turn down the volume on your PC, or you can go here and say, well, maybe I want it at 0.5. Okay. Now, all that doesn't matter. When you're satisfied, you put it back in here so that it only executes when you are in REM sleep. Now, one thing I must bring your attention to is that with the default Lucid Dreaming settings, that is the light and vibration stimulation, you have an option here saying minimum interval between stimulations. Now, if I remember correctly, this is ignored as far as your script goes. That is, it's going to call this function every single epoch, and this is REM is going to be true every single epoch. Now, that means that the way this script is right now is going to play that sound every single epoch of REM sleep. Now, the is REM flag is optimized to not wake you up during a slow wave sleep, which means not every single REM epoch is going to have that flag set, so it's a little bit sparse. So very likely it's not going to fire up the MP3 every 30 seconds, most likely. But there might be times when it does. So especially if you have very strong eye movements. So this is really not functional enough for use. You need to find a way to replicate this function in your code, which again, for JavaScript programmer is easy. I'm just going to say epochs since last play equals, give it a very high number to begin with. Then every time we have an epoch, we increase that by 1, and then we do if this is greater or equal to 10, which is 5 minutes, because each epoch is 30 seconds, and then set it back to 0, okay? And then you save it. So what we've done here is to create a global variable, epoch since last play, which is increased by 1 every time that the new epoch received is called. And the play sound is only triggered if that number is greater than 10, that is if 5 minutes have elapsed, and then it goes back to 0 to reset the delay, okay? So that's all. Again, I'm going to scroll up in case you want to see what that line is like and you're trying to copy this. Just set that to 1,000 initially, and then this is the actual function that does all the work. So now we have both the MP3 file, we have the volume set, and then we have some way of limiting the number of times that that's played. If you want to be even more precise, you can take that stop sound and you can put it right here so that just in case it's still playing, it's going to stop it first. And normally you wouldn't want to have a song in there. You would want to have perhaps some speech to create some kind of a dream incorporation of certain concepts. Again, I don't think that this is going to work. In the literature, this doesn't work, but we also have another parameter there that says XYZ. This tells you how much movement there was in the previous epoch. So it's conceivable that you could come up with a much smarter way of doing that, which instead of looking at is_rem, might, for example, take the is_rem parameter and also the amount of movement, and then create a combination of parsing those two parameters where you say, I'm going to play back the sound only when there's been some movement, which means now the threshold for arousal is very, very low. And also there's perhaps a REM detection in the past 10 minutes that might be something that has higher chances to actually work. But that's a little bit beyond the scope of what we're doing today. So again, once you change your script, click the right button here. Notice the name of the script that it's loading. It just loaded startup. That's not what I want, right? It's my script. Make sure that that's right. Okay, perfect. So now it's executing my script. Now you just got to launch this as normal. Now, let's say you just want the MP3 playing. You don't want any light or vibration. Just set this to 0. Blink times 0. That completely disables the stimulation that HDRecorder manages internally. And then any stimulation that you do is then needs to be done in the script. Okay? And that's it. And this, I think, doesn't matter anymore because we're handling it over there. And that's it. Then click OK. Let it begin the recording and go to sleep and hope that it works. Hey, did it work? Let me know in the comments below. Cheers.